Friends, let's talk about cannabis stocks. You've been waiting on this video. I get this comment more than none, and I'm going to kind of just give my synopsis on what I think about cannabis stocks and where I see them kind of going. And these are just all cannabis stocks. I just printed off, there's a bunch of them. And I do want to say this before I really get started here. I'm probably going to talk more or less about one cannabis stock in particular, the one that everyone's paying attention to right now, and that's obviously Tilray. But how I feel about cannabis stocks, cannabis stocks were something 5 years ago. A lot of people were like, can you believe you can bid into these cannabis stocks? You can buy shares, and then a few years ago, I was actually in quite a bit of cannabis stocks, and I just sold out of them. I took damage, and it's a really difficult thing to put your money into right now, and I'm going to tell you for certain reasons for me. But I am positive where cannabis stocks are going. I will say that. So this isn't like some kind of like cutthroat bear video on cannabis stocks. I want to be open and honest with how I'm looking at them right now, and somebody who I've invested in these before. You have to understand that the cannabis market is very, very filled with competition right now. You have Tilray, who is dominating, obviously doing very well in Canada, and that's the majority of where these cannabis companies are located. But the European market is doing phenomenal. And obviously, most of these cannabis stocks, what you find out when you cannabis companies, when you dig into them, you start to see that they have their tentacles in other things, alcohol, other things with cannabis, gummies, all that kind of stuff. It just goes down the line. What you have right now, you have limited market. And when you have limited market, you have a lot of fight with a lot of companies. And there are a lot of cannabis companies. And, just 5 years ago, there were a lot more. But they have really gone down because a lot of them have just bought out other ones. They fell apart. Did not work out. And, we have bubbles in the market. 4 or 5 years ago, especially when the Biden administration came in, the bubble then in the market was EV companies. EV companies were exploding. It was a huge bubble. And what we saw from that was a lot of them didn't make it. And the ones that did make it, they're still around, but most of them have a stock price that has already had multiple reverse splits, one reverse split, or their stock is barely holding on to $1 or $2 because the market is overrun with EV cars. And not to mention you have an economy throughout the world that is trashed. So, and obviously there's things that went into play with that. That was a bubble. Now we're in a whole new bubble where we are getting highly into this AI bubble / crypto coming up again here that's really starting to push. So the next bubble, it could be the cannabis market, and I think there will be a gold rush on cannabis stocks where people are like, I really need to get into these cannabis stocks. But that bubble will come when you see the United States market open 100%. When anybody, who, he, what, can, when, where, how, with, who, doctors note, what, that stuff doesn't matter anymore. And it's just simply, you have cannabis companies that are located in the United States where they're able to anchor down and sell their product. And that's when the real fighting will begin there, where a lot of these big companies, Aurora, Sundial Growers, Tilray, and there's plenty more, will really try to hunker down and, really fight amongst one another. And you'll see a lot of them start to get ate up a lot more. So, let's speak on Tilray particularly, because that is the one everyone is looking at right now. Tilray, we know certain things. We know they started off the year really good with quarterly. We know they're finally getting cash positive for the moment. And we know that their stock is rising right now organically. So these are positive things we're seeing right now. And they have a huge, they're really big right now. They're almost the biggest cannabis producer right now in the European market. So big things. And obviously they do more than cannabis. And, you know, the CEO of Tilray has been asked, you know, are they going to stop becoming a cannabis company and focus more on their other avenues of what they sell? And, you know, he was fast to say, no, we're not going to do that. And one thing in particular is because when the American market opens up 100%, it's untapped, resources there. It's true. Obviously a lot of these companies, you can buy their stuff and it pertains to certain states where how it works, but you just have not seen the full potential even close to what would happen if every state in the United States legalize cannabis. We just haven't seen that yet. So that's really one thing hampering the majority of these cannabis stocks right now. I do think it's important to look at a lot of these cannabis companies. When this bubble is going to form, and then it's going to start to play out, I don't know. It's really more of a politic question. It's very political what could happen. What I can tell you is that I don't think a lot of these cannabis stocks are going to bring you mass fortune as such as an AI company would right now, or even getting your money wrapped up in Amazon. And I don't say that to be mean. I just say that because these cannabis stocks right now there's such a fight for placement with all of them. Most of them, a lot of them, Sundial is famous for buying out other small cannabis companies. It's kind of, Sundial has been nicknamed the investment company because they buy out so many other companies. And then you have Aurora. Aurora is a huge cannabis company, but they've gone through some hardship and they've had a reverse split, and they've taken damage, and but they're all fighting for your buck, the customer's buck here. To me, cannabis stocks right now, they don't excite me at the moment, but I do think that there is good news coming. I think there's greener grass on the other side with a lot of these. I just think it's going to take something happen where the federal government comes out and they say, you know what, we are going to legalize cannabis everywhere. And when you see that happen, you are going to see the biggest gold rush happen on these cannabis stocks that we have ever seen. Because what do you think is going to happen? Everyone with money in their pocket, and a lot of these firms too, will be looking at cannabis stocks and going, okay, we're going to start looking through their quarterlies, cash on hand, where they're at, partnerships, what they're doing, and you're going to see mass investing going on in these cannabis stocks. So when that happens, I don't know. I don't know. We've seen a lot of states in the past few years, just go legalize on cannabis, but there's still, even with some of them, there's rules and regulations. A lot of these companies can't just set up shop, in the middle of, a small town and start doing what they do. So friends, I'll talk more on this, and obviously I'll probably start making videos on Tilray and what's going on there. I was a pretty big investor in Sundial a while back, but Sundial has its own issues and really trying to get out of the hole that it's in. To me, a lot of these cannabis stocks are just, their day is coming. I just don't know when. That's the thing. The main thing that I see and want from them is just they don't do reverse splits. They keep making profit, and they keep beating out their competitors, and that's really the most you can hope for right now with a lot of them. That's the God's honest truth. So friends, I'm going to shut up now, and I will talk more on this issue later. I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Happy Easter, and I will talk to you Monday. Really excited. Bye, everyone.